All right, guys, I'm back. It's probably the third week of posting on social media for me, new to this. Um, but I thought I'd probably would do a talk today and actually tell you who the heck I am. I think you probably have caught up on some of them, maybe you know of me, you know about me, my friends, family. But I wanted to at least be a little bit vulnerable today and tell you who I am and where I come from. So my name's Dr. Angie Martinez. I'm a Colorado native, grew up in southern Colorado, have been in Colorado my whole life. I'm a medical doctor. I'm a conventional doctor trained in family medicine practice. I've been practicing for over 15 years now. And then now I'm currently, for the past year, have been practicing in the functional medicine realm. I'll tell you how that came about. But first of all, growing up, I grew up in a small town in southern Colorado. Happened to be one of the poorest counties in Colorado. All my surrounding friends, we were all economically poor. But I have to say, that I was from an experience standpoint, it's been the richest experience that I've had. And growing up in that place has given me a lot of skills. And I think the first skill it's given me is a skill of survival and being tough. You almost have to be tough if you're going to make it through medical school and residency. And you still have to be tough if you're going to be a medical doctor, showing up to work in these days. It takes a different person to do that. And I think growing up in a small town, I was able to gain all those skills of learning how to be tough in different ways, because life was so raw in a small town. In that place, I don't know what it was, but somehow I found this in me to become to chase bigger dreams and become a doctor. And I can't pinpoint exactly where it came from, but I know that it was probably handed down to me in some other way. My grandmother was a natural healer. She used herbs and different remedios, as she calls them, to help heal. And I sort of took to that and liked that and felt like that was something I was interested in. And so here I am off with my tough attitude into the crazy big world, out leaving a small town to become a doctor. And on this health journey, I'm not going to go through the whole crazy health journey becoming a doctor. It's all the same. It's just tough and crazy stories that come along with that. But in my journey of becoming a doctor and doing the tough work of being a doctor, I found myself about 7-8 years ago in a tough spot. And at that time, I was having a lot of medical problems, a lot of physical illnesses. And quite honestly, it really was a culmination of symptoms that were resulting probably from a soul crisis. I was actually experiencing what a lot of my colleagues are experiencing in what we call physician burnout. And I'm the perfect personality to burn out because I like to go at everything hardcore. And so 7-8 years ago, I found myself in that position. Of course, as a conventional doc, all I could see was the physical symptoms that I was feeling, but in all reality, it was more of a soul crisis. And when you go through burnout, it's a disconnection, it's a misalignment, it's a psyche, it's also a physical issue and problem, or at least it's a disconnection between a midbrain and your prefrontal cortex, where you start getting into this survival mode. Sort of what we're in right now is this survival mode. That's sort of what physician burnout is like as well. Anyway, during that time, I started realizing I needed something different. Actually, I was desperate for something different because I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling accomplished in what I was doing. It took so much to be a doctor. I didn't have the energy to do that anymore. And so I started looking as a scientist, as a trained scientist. I started looking into the literature. I started looking for answers, and I found functional medicine. And so 7-8 years ago in my health journey, my journey took a different turn, and I started studying functional medicine. And it was in that functional medicine paradigm that I was actually able to find myself again and sort of bridge those missing links that I had with what I was experiencing with physician burnout. I had some actual physical issues. I was having a lot of symptoms and migraines and IBS problems, which, in the conventional world we just say it's just stress, and truthfully, it is stress, but it's more. It's something at a deeper level. And I was able to, within a short period of time, get over that and actually get back on track of healing. And I really fell in love with functional medicine and what it provided for me as a provider, at least with my own health, but then it also provided me extra tools of what I can give for my patients. And so that's who I am. I started off as a conventional doc and found another extra set of tools to help patients, to meet patients where they're at. And I found some frustration, or at least in that whole journey, I realized as a medical doctor, there were a lot of things in my conventional training that were very limited. And when patients would come to me, I could see that there were things there that I couldn't address. I definitely couldn't address it in a 15-minute time frame that I was allowed. But even the skill set and the tools that I had in the conventional world, I could not help the patient with chronic fatigue. I could not help that patient with depression. Even though we have plenty of antidepressants, truthfully, I couldn't say that I really helped a lot of patients who had true depression feel that they were healed from depression. And there's a whole list of other diseases or diagnoses that we give in the conventional world that I felt like I couldn't quite help a patient fully recover from. I realized I was starting to just manage people as a disease, and that was falling out of the line of who I was. And when I found functional medicine, I realized in the functional world, we're given extra tools to realize what is the cause of some of these diseases or some of these symptoms. And here I am now on this new journey of practicing medicine in a different way. And so I wanted to at least post this so people, when they're looking to figure out, who they want to find as their healer or their health coach or their advisor, somebody who's willing to help them along the journey, you'll have a sense of my journey and how I actually had to go through similar problems to find health. And because of that experience, I bring a lot more to the table now with a patient because I've been through a journey myself, and I continue to do that. And so what I want to share with you today is who I am in terms of values. I wouldn't have ever done this before, but now that I'm in this new place, I just want to at least share with you what's important to me. And part of it's a personal homework for myself to start realizing, where am I in my life right now? We always have places, we always have room to improve, and I feel like this is a great time. Even in the setting of a crisis, there's opportunity to become new and learn, and I feel like as a provider and as a healer, that's what this time has become for me. And so in terms of becoming a better person, or at least providing better care, I wanted to share and be a little bit more vulnerable and share who I am. So I have a list, and there's no particular order of my list, other than these are now values that are important to me at this moment in my time at age 46. This is what's important to me. And there's a lot of stability in these. I could say that these have probably been with me along the whole journey. And I have to say, maybe I fell off track when I wasn't in alignment with my values. And that's sort of when I feel like crises do hit, is when you're sort of getting off track with your values. And so that was one of the messages with that physician burnout and all those physical illnesses that I was experiencing, is I felt like at that point in my life, I was actually out of alignment of my purpose and out of alignment of what I felt like I can do. I certainly wasn't growing, and I felt like I needed something else. And so integrity and courage are really important to me. Honesty, living with intention and purpose are starting to become big for me these days. Tough love has always been an important value. I've always been tough about that. And I would rather have tough love over a tough life, and so I think it's really important to have tough love. Being consistent. I come from a family of teachers, so and the Latin root meaning of a doctor is to teach, and I really do feel like that's where I get patients to do the most, is when I come as present as a teacher. But in the flip side is I'm also a lifelong learner and a student and that's been a very important value of mine, is continuing this path of learning, especially when it comes to healing and health. I've actually have grown with so many extra skills of helping people get to a healing place. Growth, vulnerability has never really been on my list. That's probably new for my list, but I'm trying to do that more. Being transparent. Uh, I guess because I grew up in a big family, having a large tribe and being loyal and committed to family and friends is really important to me. Um, really, really embracing the aspect of healer that's in all of us. Not only is it the healer for us to heal ourselves, but there's also a healer in helping others to heal once you've healed yourself. That's actually an important value of mine. Having alignment with these values, I feel like things come up when you're out of alignment, or at least that anxiety and that stress and those physical symptoms come when you're not aligned with that. And Mother Nature, I just feel like Mother Nature is probably where a lot of wisdom of mine has come these days. I feel like that's a place that I can sort of find myself when I'm actually in nature. I feel like I'm in a place of the learner as a student, but then also just learning about certain aspects of nature. I think that mirrors a lot of what we see in health, and it sort of mirrors in a lot of the things that I try to find in my patients. And I always use examples of Mother Nature and how that works, or how that overlaps with our own health. And last but not least, being a leader. And I think more so now, it's more important for those of us in these positions to step up as leaders of our community and our tribe and help guide people through this. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing this, is a lot of for my patients that I've already established that I care about, and I want them to have a sense of this knowledge and take advantage of this opportunity to find new health and new direction and new purpose. Because I feel like when you go through so much of this crisis and history is, just being rattled right now, those are moments and times that we have to take that opportunity of the crisis and make it something that's positive for us, or at least something that we grow from and learn from. So if you're looking for anybody, or if you follow those values, that's sort of who I am. And I feel like when you're looking for a provider and a healer, it should always be somebody who has similar values, because they will be more likely to help you through your journey. Because part of healing isn't that I'm giving my patient the power to heal. I'm actually helping that patient find it within themselves. And so you really do need an advisor, a mentor, a guide, a leader who actually have similar values as you. And so that's who I am. Those are the values I filter life through now these days. And I now have a clinic. It's called Root Cause Medicine. And I don't think my patients know this, maybe some do, but I sat a long time trying to figure out how to name, or what I would name my clinic, and I called it Root Cause for a reason. First of all, I have a picture over here of a tree, and I feel like the tree is an amazing symbol for so many ways. I can geek out and nerd out about so many things about a tree, but in the Spanish terms, I don't know if y'all know that Martinez is a Spanish name. It actually is one of the most common Spanish names out there. But in Spain, the old Spain, there was a lot of pride in the name, and there was so much pride that they actually had what was called a coat of arms, a banner that was placed on people's homes, and you were actually part of this tribe. You were part of the Martinez tribe. You were part of whatever other family names you were, part of that tribe. That's who identified you. And so the word Martinez, the coat of armor symbol for Martinez is actually an oak tree. And I found, when my brother brought this up to me and told me about that, it actually made me feel good, because I started realizing how the coincidence of trees have come into my life and the symbolism of trees have come into life. So my symbol in my clinic is actually a tree, and on my tree, or actually in my clinic quote on my website, and in my clinic I have a quote from Rumi, who says, maybe you are searching among the branches for what only appears in your roots, which I find really, really symbolic of everything that I've gone through. I feel like in the first part of my career, I've been sitting in the branches with conventional medicine, and really it's becoming a priority to me now in these days is to dig deeper, to really look at people at the root cause of their issues, and to look at, what their genetics are like, what's their family like, what are their stresses like, what kind of foods are they eating, what kind of thoughts they have in their head. All these things are probably more important causes and triggers for any type of disease. And I feel like I get more reward, and actually I probably get more success with patients when we really dive into that level of patient health. And with that symbolism, I just wanted to share with you how that came along. There's a circle that goes around, which I feel like that's life. We sort of just go in circles, and life gives us more and more opportunities to look at things differently and to grow. And so that's sort of, the symbolism of my clinic emblem, so to speak. But you can read more about me on my website. My website is www.drangiemartinez.com, and that's just the DR, Angie Martinez. And if you feel like this is something that is in alignment with who you are, and you're really interested in getting on board with somebody to help you through your journey, I'm open. I'm taking virtual care at these times, and in the future I'm going to be doing virtual care, because I think that's just an important aspect for patients, and an important opportunity for people to have that type of care. But being virtual means that I can get out of Denver, and I can help people within Colorado, so I can, help people, my family and friends that are in southern Colorado. But anyway, that's who I am. And if you have any messages to send to me, if this jives with you, put something down in the messages. Otherwise, if you're interested, you can send me an email, and I can put you on my educational newsletter that I send out. That way you can keep track of all the talks that I give. But that's who I am, and I'll continue with all the other stuff that I keep doing if you guys are interested. And thanks for your time. Stay safe.